Discover the incredible moment, how a poor cleaner saved a millionaire's son from a grate. Angela ran her hand across the cool, polished surface of the high-rise lobby, her thoughts drifting to her 10-year-old son, Danny. Living in the heart of a broken inner city, they clung to dreams like lifelines. Today, she was cleaning the luxury offices of the Parkerson family, an elite group whose lives felt worlds away from her own. The air buzzed with the energy of the wealthy, leaving her feeling like a ghost in their opulent world. Suddenly, a commotion snapped her back. A flash of blonde hair caught her eye. Jake Parkerson, the rebellious son of the family, was teetering dangerously over an open street grate outside. Her heart raced. No! She screamed, instincts kicking in as she lunged forward. Time froze as she reached him, her grip firm as she yanked him back just in time. Breathless, she glared at this boy whose parents' wealth didn't shield him from peril. But as she pulled him away from danger, the scorn of the Parkerson family gripped her. Haughty expressions were etched on their faces, disdain dripped from their comments. "What are you doing here?" One snipped, as if her presence was an affront to their every privilege. Quartered in the back of her mind was a fierce anger. Didn't they see? She was no less than they were. She was a mother fighting for a better life for her son. After work, Danny greeted her with his usual chaotic energy, his latest project a vibrant, colorful poster advocating for clean neighborhoods stuck to their tiny apartment wall. "Mom! Can I share this in class?" His small voice filled the air as he beamed with pride. Her heart ached at his brilliance, a light in the shadow of their circumstances. As the days passed, Jake found himself increasingly drawn to their little world. Watching the mother-son duo laughing, surrounded by makeshift toys and creativity, sparked something in him, a desire to break free from his gilded cage. It was baffling to him, their vibrancy seemed real, unlike the cold expectations of his family. One day, after a long afternoon of cleaning, Jake appeared at their door. "Can I come in?" he asked, an unusual softness in his voice. Angela hesitated. The weight of her neighborhood pressed in, the shame of judgment heavy on her shoulders. But Danny's innocent excitement broke the tension. "Yes. Come play." Suddenly, laughter filled the cramped space, breaking down so many walls, but just as hope blossomed, tragedy struck. A careless driver lost control, sending debris flying right into their lives, leaving Angela heartbroken and questioning everything she had fought for. Pain lay thick like fog. She felt torn between the life she desperately wanted for Danny and the haunting realities of their world. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In the aftermath, the Parkersons faced a reckoning. The resentment simmered into a fiery confrontation when Angela bravely addressed them, refusing to be treated as less than human. Would her courage inspire change? Tension crackled in the air, as clashing worlds stood at the precipice. Could their lives truly intertwine, or were they fated to be defined by the very barriers that sought to keep them apart? The question lingered, aching for resolution, waiting for their next move. Angela stood at the threshold of her apartment, heart heavy and mind racing. The echoes of the confrontation with the Parkersons still chased her thoughts. She had faced them, stood her ground, but what would come of it? The community had been watching, some murmured admiration for her bravery, while others wore disbelief as a mask. "Danny, come here," she called, her voice shaky. He bounded across the small room, eyes bright with the innocence of youth. She knelt down, wrapping her arms around him tightly, needing him as much as he needed her. "I need you to promise me something," she said, looking deep into his trusting gaze. "No matter what happens, you keep dreaming. You hear me?" "Okay, Mom. I will," He replied without hesitation, wrapping his small fingers around hers, but as the evening faded to night outside their window, a knot of anxiety tightened in her chest. The next morning, Angela got an unexpected call. It was Jake. "I need to talk to you," he said, his voice uncharacteristically serious. "Can I come over?" When he arrived, he looked troubled. "I'm really sorry about what happened. My parents, they were wrong. You actually saved me," and his words trailed off, as he clenched his fists. "I want to help you." Angela's brow furrowed, suspicion creeping in. "Help? How? You think that can just fix everything? This isn't just about you and me. Your family isn't. You don't understand." "I want to understand. I've seen enough to know there's more to life than what my parents think matters," he insisted. "Can I come back to help Danny with his project?" As they spent those hours diving into the vibrant world of Danny's dreams, Angela began to see the flicker of a connection forming. Jake laughed at the folly of boys his age, and for the first time, she saw past the wealth that surrounded him. He was a boy, like her own son, fighting against the walls of expectations. It was a strange but beautiful sight, the way Danny and Jake danced around their creations, both of them free in that moment. But soon, the weight of reality intruded. As sunlight faded, Angela received a text from one of her neighbors. There had been whispers about her confrontation with the Parkersons and how it might hurt her job. A chill settled over her. Was she making things worse? "Mom? Are we done?" Danny's bright voice broke through her thoughts. She nodded, forcing a smile. But inside, panic gnawed. How could she stand for her family without losing everything they fought for? Just then, Jake hesitated, catching on to her tension. "Angela, I can talk to them, to my parents. I can help." "Jake, stop!" She interrupted, fierce but fearful. "This is bigger than both of us. This is about worlds colliding." The silence that followed hung heavy between them, a chasm neither of them knew how to cross. "Can we really change anything?" she finally asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. Jake looked straight into her eyes, determination sparking a fire there. "We have to try. You saved me, remember? Now it's my turn to help save you." Angela felt the first flicker of hope, bright yet fragile. But with every ounce of hope came an avalanche of doubt. The fragmented world they lived in still felt insurmountable. What would happen next? As darkness wrapped around them, her heart thudded in rhythm with her racing thoughts. Could this boy truly be the bridge to a more hopeful future? And as her heart ached with uncertainty, one question hung heavy in the air: would courage be enough to break the chains that held them? The morning sun broke through the window, casting soft rays across Angela's modest living room. She woke with a jolt, memories of last night swirling in her mind, both terrifying and thrilling. Danny still slept soundly, his small hand clutching a dragon figure, a remnant of the adventures they had shared the day before. She needed to keep this momentum going, keep his spirit alive and hopeful. As she brewed coffee, Angela stared out the window, the world outside buzzing with Sunday morning routines. People were walking dogs, kids were playing in the street, and laughter floated on the breeze. But inside, Angela felt a heaviness. Today was a day of choices, and each choice felt layered with implications. The Parkersons loomed like dark clouds in her mind, casting shadows over everything. A soft knock at the door jolted her from her thoughts. It was Jake. "Hey, I hope it's okay," he said, his nervous energy evident. "I thought we could work on Danny's project again." "Of course," Angela replied, grateful for his willingness to step into their world. But doubt filled her chest. Would having Jake over endanger the fragile peace that hung over them? Yet the sparkle in Danny's eyes when he saw Jake made the decision easy. Danny rushed to greet Jake, his excitement bubbling over. The room filled with the lightness of their playful chatter, but Angela couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. She busied herself with breakfast, glancing occasionally at the boys, their laughter temporary relief from her worries. As they worked together, the bond between Danny and Jake deepened. They laid out their final project plans, a model of a sustainable city, vibrant and thriving. Angela watched the way they moved as a team, ideas flowing, creativity blooming. Her heart swelled with pride. These small moments meant everything, but just then, her phone buzzed again, a text from her neighbor, Karen, spooling out the latest gossip. "Did you hear? The Parkersons are holding a meeting with the board about you. It doesn't look good." Those words hit like ice water splashing on her skin. "Mom?" Danny's voice pulled her back. "What's wrong?" "Nothing, sweetheart. Just got a bit distracted." She plastered on a smile, but inside, the storm was brewing. The weight of judgment, the perceived expectations from the Parkersons. Could she really handle a fight against the whole neighborhood? Jake sensed her shift. He placed a steadying hand on her shoulder, his eyes filled with understanding. "Angela, we can work on something together to present at the meeting. Show them what we can offer, not just what we're against." Angela held his gaze. It was a bold idea, but could they really stack up against the powerful Parkersons? What if they don't listen? Her voice was barely above a whisper, vulnerability flickering in her eyes. Jake stepped closer, the determination in his expression unwavering. "Then we make them listen. Together." She felt the stirrings of hope again, but it needed more than that. A plan began to unfurl in her mind, a plan that could pull them out of their precarious situation. But it was going to take more than courage. It would take strategy, unity, and perhaps even risking everything they had. Just then, Danny pulled out a box from beneath the couch, a toy that he believed held the key to his dream. "Look, Mom. It's a dragon. Maybe we could make our city epic with dragons." Angela smiled, resting a hand against her heart. Here was her boy, pure and full of imagination. A city with dragons? Now that sounds like a plan. But beneath that smile, Angela felt an unexpected surge of fear. What if their dreams became entangled with the harsh reality of the Parkersons? As she gathered their supplies together, one question pulsed through her mind: would they have enough courage to build their dreams amidst the looming threat of destruction? And just as she thought they found their spark, would darkness snuff it out before they even had a chance to ignite it? Danny's excitement was infectious, and for a moment, Angela let the anxiety slip away. As she watched him, filled with dreams of dragons and cities, she found herself caught up in his imagination. What if their project really could inspire others? What if they could turn this neighborhood meeting into a showcase of hope and creativity? "Okay, let us get to work," she encouraged, her voice a mix of warmth and determination. The boys dove into sketches and ideas, paper strewn across the living room floor, markers in wild colors marking their vision of a bustling cityscape. "Dragons could be the protectors of our city," Danny insisted, his little finger tracing a line toward a vibrant green sketch. "Yes. And they could help us with energy, too. Imagine them flying overhead, guarding our solar panels," Jake added, already deep into his own drawings. Angela felt a tingle of excitement run through her. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and the exuberance of youth, she believed that their vision could come to life. They could present the community with something not just to fight against, but to rally behind. Yet, the underlying fear laced through her thoughts like a dark thread stitching through her hopeful dreams. Hours flew by, filled with laughter and creativity, but as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows in the room, Angela's mind turned back to the Parkersons. She wondered what they would say at the meeting. Would they dismiss Danny's and Jake's dreams as childish fantasies? Suddenly, the phone buzzed again. This time it was her sister. "Hey, I heard about the Parkersons preparing something against you. Be careful. Just wanted to check in. Love you." The message felt heavy. It was always the same. Her family had never fully supported her choice of living in this community. Could they see the spark inside her? Would they understand the fight? "Mom?" Danny called, breaking her train of thought. "Can you help us with the model? We want it huge. Angela forced a smile and joined them on the floor. Let us make this the best model ever. As they worked, the tiny room filled with energy. Glue, scissors, and colored paper became their tools of change. Danny and Jake weaved tales of this magical city as they crafted skyscrapers and parks, flying dragons, and homes that felt alive. For a moment, the laughter and creation dulled Angela's fears. Yet deep down, that question lingered: could they truly transform this community's perceptions? She glanced around the room at all the hard work, and for a fleeting second, doubt crept in. What if they laugh at us? She whispered, almost to herself. Who cares? Jake responded spiritedly, noticing her shadowed expression. We believe in it. That's what matters. His words hung in the air, challenging her doubts. For the first time in a long while, Angela felt a blend of emotions: fear, hope, and a fierce determination to protect her son and his dreams. Just as they placed the finishing touches on their model, the doorbell rang. Angela's heart skipped. It was the kind of revelation she dreaded, or perhaps needed. She peered through the peephole, and her stomach twisted. Standing on the other side was Carol Parkerson, arms crossed, and her expression as imposing as ever. Angela, Carol's voice rang out, clear and sharp through the door. We need to talk. It's about your project. Angela's breath caught in her throat. She had fought to keep the world outside from crashing in, but now it was here. Would this be the confrontation that sparked their fight or crushed their dreams altogether? With uncertainty twisting in her gut, she slowly opened the door, ready to face whatever awaited her. What would Carol say? Would this be the blow that knocked them down, or the moment they finally stood up for themselves? Angela took a deep breath and opened the door, ready to meet Carol's gaze. The stern look on Carol's face sent a wave of dread through her, but she fought to keep her shoulders squared. Carol, she said, trying to sound firm and composed, what brings you here? Can we talk? Carol replied, her tone clipped. Without waiting for an invitation, she stepped inside, making the small space feel even tighter. The chaos of crumpled papers and craft supplies seemed out of place in this unexpected confrontation. Angela motioned toward the couch, her heart thudding in her chest. Sure, sit. I don't want to sit. I want to get straight to the point. Carol crossed her arms tighter, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the room filled with Danny's and Jake's artwork. I've heard about your project. The boys are excited, but you need to understand something. This fantasy you're creating? She gestured to the model on the floor, a bright depiction of a city protected by dragons. It's just that, a fantasy. We don't need more dreams, we need solutions. Angela felt the heat rising in her chest. Solutions come with dreams, Carol. They spark the imagination. Imagination won't pay the bills. Carol snapped, her frustration spilling over. There are real issues to tackle, like the crime in this neighborhood. How are people going to take you seriously? Maybe they'll take us seriously once they see that we care, Angela retorted, her voice shaking but fierce. We're not just creating a model. We're planting hope, a reason to believe in better things. Carol's expression softened just a fraction, but the tension remained thick. Hope is nice, but it doesn't fix a broken window or feed a hungry child. In that moment, Angela felt an unexpected surge of empathy. Carol was right about the problems plaguing their community. Yet, she also believed in the power of creativity to inspire change. You're right. But don't you see? If we show people something they can believe in, something magical, it might just ignite a fire in them to make real change. Carol remained quiet, leashed in thought. Angela could almost see the wheels turning in her head. It was a small shift, but enough to spur hope. Before Angela could find the words to press her point, Danny rushed in, excitement radiating from his face. Mom! Look! We added a river. He pointed to a cutout of shimmering blue paper snaking through their model. Carol's eyes widened ever so slightly at the sight of Danny's enthusiasm. She straightened, her posture softening. That's creative, she admitted, almost a whisper. Right? Dragons could even help with flooding. Danny continued, oblivious to the tension. They could scoop up water and help us build. Angela noticed Carol's expression change even more. Perhaps this wasn't just a battle over ideas. They were speaking the same language in different ways. What if Carol hesitated, her voice faltering for the first time? What if there's a way we can work together? A way to combine both our ideas? Angela felt the breath catch in her throat. Was this the opening she needed? You're willing to listen? Maybe. If you can prove this project means something, Carol replied, her tone a little softer now, almost curious. Angela's heart raced. Was this the moment where possibility crossed paths with reality? The tension began to shift, a flicker of hope igniting between them, and just like that, the potential for collaboration emerged. What if they could create something beautiful together? Let us talk about how we make this work, then, Angela suggested, her tone lighter now. Suddenly, Carol pulled out her phone. I'll need to get my husband involved. He has connections. Angela's pulse quickened. You mean? But before she could finish her sentence, Carol interrupted her, eyes narrowed once more. But if you embarrass me at the meeting, I will hold you responsible. No fantasies, okay? Focus on realistic dreams. Angela nodded, a breath of anticipation washing over her. The door may have just opened a crack, but it felt like a whole new world was inching closer. Just then, the kitchen timer blared in the background, jolting them both back to the moment. It cut through the tension like a knife. Dinner. Danny chirped, oblivious to everything as he skipped back to the kitchen. Angela glanced back at Carol. The stakes had shifted again, but now the air was charged with possibility. So, shall we continue this talk over dinner? Carol hesitated but finally nodded. Fine. But let us keep it practical. As they moved toward the kitchen, Angela's heart soared with hope mixed with caution. She sensed they were on the cusp of something big, something that could change everything, but would they be able to take that leap together? Could they truly blend dreams and reality into a plan that inspired their community? The questions swirled in her mind as they entered the kitchen, the scent of home-cooked dinner tantalizing her senses. Angela took a deep breath, waiting for the next twist in this unexpected journey. Would Carol's support lead to a unity she envisioned, or would the walls rise again? The kitchen buzzed with warmth and the comforting aromas of roasted chicken and garlic mashed potatoes. Danny was already at the table, setting out the plates and silverware with a flourish. His enthusiasm brightened the atmosphere, but Angela could still feel the weight of the earlier conversation pressing down on her. As Angela wiped her hands on a dish towel, she caught Carol's eye. A sliver of vulnerability flashed across Carol's face, almost imperceptible. It was clear that beneath her tough exterior, she cared deeply for her sons and for this community. The question lingered, how could they find common ground? Dinner smells amazing, Mom. Danny beamed, oblivious to the previous tension. Can I help with something else? You're doing great, buddy. Angela smiled, but her mind was racing. Would Carol see the potential in their project? Could they really turn dreams into action? As they settled around the table, Danny chattered about dragons and rivers, his innocent excitement floating in the air like magic. Carol watched him, her expression softening more with every word he spoke. The mention of a dragon saving the town from flooding brought a smile to her lips, and for a brief moment, Angela allowed herself to hope. I've seen communities come together in crisis, Carol said suddenly, her voice steady. When my husband was on the force, we had this one neighborhood that transformed. They organized cleanups and fundraisers to help families in need. It didn't happen overnight, it took years of effort, bit by bit. Angela leaned forward, intrigued. That sounds like a beautiful way to change the narrative. What if we could help create that sense of unity here? Carol nodded slowly, her mind clearly turning with ideas. We could involve everyone, not just the kids. Bring in local artists to contribute murals, have a festival. Danny perked up, eyes sparkling. A festival with dragons. Yes. Angela couldn't help but giggle at the enthusiasm. A festival that celebrates creativity and brings everyone together. It would show how art can inspire real change. Angela and Carol shared a glance, the barriers slowly starting to fracture under the weight of shared vision. Carol stirred her mashed potatoes, contemplating, her fingers drumming lightly on the table. Gabriel, her husband, had always said that change came from connection. Maybe, just maybe, this dream project could be the beginning of something real. But dreams still need structure, Carol interjected. We need a plan, something that addresses the bigger issues as we build up our community. She leaned back, crossing her arms, her brow furrowing. And it might mean we have to tackle the crime head-on, too. Angela's heart sank a little. It was true that they couldn't ignore reality. Maybe we can collaborate with local businesses, create job opportunities through the festival? We can promote safety by showing the positive aspects of our neighborhood. Kids need something to look up to, too, Carol said, her tone softer. If we can give them mentors or places to hang out, it could change everything. Yes. Angela felt her passion igniting. The boys can lead workshops for other children. This isn't just about art, it's about building a community that believes in itself. For a few moments, they were caught in a cocoon of possibility, their ideas hanging in the air like unspooled yarn waiting to be woven. Just then, Danny's voice broke through, "Can I draw dragons for the invites?" Angela laughed, "Absolutely. Dragons will be the stars of our festival." Carol cracked a smile, genuinely this time. Maybe we need to make this work. Suddenly, the air shifted again. The tension was beginning to fade, revealing the excitement underneath like a hidden treasure. Angela dared to hope. "Let us make a plan," she suggested. "Tomorrow, we can work out the details together." Carol nodded, her expression determined but calm. "Sounds good. But remember, it's a team effort." As they continued their dinner, it felt like they had begun to rewrite their story. But just as they relaxed into their camaraderie, Carol's phone buzzed with a notification. Cutting through the dinner's warmth, she glanced at the screen, her face dropping slightly. "It's my husband. I might have to take care of something quickly," she said, a hint of worry creeping in. "I'll be right back." Angela's heart raced with uncertainty. What if the moment they just seized slipped through their fingers? How much would this set back their progress? As Carol stood to leave, Angela felt the weight of collaboration hanging in the balance. Would she return with a renewed commitment, or would life intervene and change everything again? The questions loomed as Danny asked about dessert, completely unaware of the turning tides. "Can we bake a dragon cake?" He beamed. Angela looked at him, then at Carol, who was slipping out the door. With a rush of determination and anxiety, she knew they were on the brink of a pivotal moment. Would dreams of a united community slip away, or would they keep forging ahead? As the door clicked shut, Angela held her breath, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. Danny hopped out of his chair, his little feet padding across the kitchen floor, filled with excitement. "Can I start drawing the dragon for the invitation now, Mom?" He grinned up at Angela, his cheeks flushed with the thrill of possibility. "Of course. I'll get you some paper," Angela replied, trying to mask her own worry for Carol. She handed Danny a stack of colorful papers, her heart still heavy from the weight of the unfinished conversation. But as Danny set to work, humming a tune, she felt a small flicker of hope. The sounds of the kitchen were momentarily filled with the scratching of crayons against the paper, but Angela's mind wandered to Carol. What could possibly be pulling her away at a time like this? Was it something serious? A few minutes later, Angela took a deep breath and moved to the kitchen window. Looking out, she let the cool evening breeze steady her. She could see the sun beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the neighborhood. A few kids raced by on their bikes, a young girl laughed while skipping down the sidewalk, and memories of childhood simplicity washed over her. Just then, Carol stepped back through the door, her face a mix of relief and concern. "I'm sorry about that," she said, taking a moment to gather herself before sitting back down. "Just neighborhood stuff." Angela noticed the tension in Carol's shoulders as she returned to the table. "Everything all right?" she asked gently. Carol sighed, looking down at her hands. "We had a break-in in the next block. It rattled everyone. I just wanted to make sure my husband was getting all the details. I feel responsible for keeping my boys safe." Angela's heart sank, realizing the stakes of their proposed project. They were not just fighting for unity, they were fighting to restore a sense of safety to their community. "I understand," Angela replied softly. "That only makes our plan more urgent. We can't ignore these issues anymore." Carol nodded, her brows furrowing with thought. "By showing our children and our community the beauty in creativity, we might be able to shift perspectives. But we have to be realistic too. Why can't we do both?" Angela replied, her voice rising with enthusiasm. "We can create something powerful with this festival. It can be a call to action. Highlight local art, celebrate who we are, and at the same time, educate on safety and security. Maybe a section of the festival could focus solely on community safety and unity," Carol suggested, her eyes lighting up. "Demos from local police, workshops on self-defense." Angela shot her a smile, feeling the energy in the room swell. "Exactly. This could evolve into something where we're not just focusing on the issues, but also working on solutions." Danny glanced up, his chubby fingers pausing mid-drawing. "Are we making the festival fight crime?" Angela chuckled. "In a way, yes. We'll show everyone that our neighborhood is strong, creative, and cares for one another." Carol's lips curved into a smile, and for the first time, Angela saw the glimmer of hope in her eyes. Perhaps they were on their way to building not just a festival, but a bridge to reconnect a fractured community. "I like the idea of connecting safety with creativity," Carol said thoughtfully. "If we can inspire the kids," Angela leaned forward, energized by the moment. "We can empower them to take ownership. Let them lead the way in our vision, and the adults will follow." As they shared ideas, laughter bubbled up between them. The kitchen, once a place of uncertainty, was now a workshop for dreams, each suggestion exchanging life like a fire catching in a breeze. But just as the atmosphere brightened, Carol's phone buzzed again. She glanced at it, her smile fading almost instantly as she read the text. It was just a few words, but Angela could see the shift in Carol's expression. "Carol? Is everything okay?" Angela asked, her heart racing again. Carol took a deep breath, setting her phone down, the shadows of worry creeping back into her eyes. It's about that break-in. They've caught someone." The weight of her words hung between them. Angela's heart raced, the reality of their situation crashing back down. Could the festival really help deter danger? Could they harness this moment to build a safer, more connected community? The determination and fear clashed inside her. Before any of them could speak, Danny's soft voice broke through the tension, asking again about the dragon cake. Angela turned to him, searching for strength. "I think we can still make our dragon cake happen, buddy." But in that moment, she wondered, would they be able to build their community as brightly as they wished, or would the shadows of reality loom over them? The night hung heavy with emotion and anticipation, waiting to see if they could truly make their dreams a reality, or if yet again, those dreams would be eluded by life's unpredictability. Angela took a deep breath, feeling a flood of mixed emotions wash over her. The idea of a festival felt both exhilarating and daunting now. Their little community had taken a hit, and in the midst of planning something beautiful, the reality of fear hung thick in the air. The gentle scratching of crayons stopped, and she turned back to Danny. He looked up, wide-eyed and innocent, still clutching his crayon like it was a magic wand. "Can we make the cake as big as the dragon?" he asked, his face lighting up with enthusiasm, a perfect contrast to the heaviness that had settled around the kitchen. "Bigger than the dragon?" Carol chimed in, forcing a smile, her voice a mixture of affection and doubt. "Why not?" Angela watched as Danny's imagination launched to new heights, his little fingers dancing across the paper, creating a vibrant dragon and an even more colorful cake. There was something special in watching him create, something that reminded her of carefree days when dreams seemed limitless. "Maybe the dragon can breathe fire," Danny exclaimed, oblivious to the weight of their earlier conversation. "That sounds awesome. What would the fire say?" Carol asked, her brow lifting in playful curiosity. Danny grinned. "It could say, 'Stay safe, everyone.'" Angela chuckled softly, her heart warming despite the anxious pit in her stomach. Danny's innocent perspective felt like a cool breeze on a hot day, momentarily lifting the burden. But Carol's earlier words echoed in her mind. Could this festival truly make a difference amid rising fears? What if we made safety the theme of the festival? Angela suggested, inspired by Danny's enthusiasm. "Like a magical dragon that protects our neighborhood." Carol's eyes narrowed with thought. "Something like a safety shield?" "Yes. A shield made of creativity." Angela felt the spark of hope reignite. "We could fill the festival with art that symbolizes safety and unity. The kids can illustrate what makes them feel safe." Danny let out a whoop of joy. "And we can hang their art everywhere." Carol laughed, and Angela felt a wave of relief wash over her. "That makes it about them, too. They'll feel like they're part of something bigger." "Exactly." Angela agreed, a smile spreading across her face. "And we could invite the police to start conversations with the kids. They can even demonstrate how to stay safe in fun ways." As they spoke, the kitchen transformed again, buzzing with ideas. Laughter bounced off the walls, and soon they found themselves sketching out plans on napkins and scraps of paper. Ideas flowed, and the weight on Carol's shoulders seemed to lighten, if only for a moment, yet, the reality nagged at the edges of their joy. The break-in still loomed over them, a stark reminder of the fears they faced. What if the festival didn't bring the change they hoped for? What if things didn't really improve? "Carol," Angela said quietly, breaking the jovial momentum slightly. "Do you really think we can make a difference?" Carol paused, her smile faltering. "I want to believe we can," she finally said, determination flickering in her eyes. "But we have to face these issues head-on, with genuine intent. If we do it right." Maybe a sudden noise from the living room interrupted them, a loud crash followed by a dog barking. Danny jumped up, clutching the crayon like a sword. "Mom! Is everything okay?" Angela exchanged a look with Carol, and their earlier concerns bubbled back up. "Let's check it out together," Carol suggested, her voice steadier than she felt. They moved toward the noise, the fading light casting long shadows behind them. Angela's heart pounded. Was it just the dog, or could it be something more? Maybe tonight wasn't just about planning. Maybe it was a test of their newfound resolve. As they opened the door to the living room, the sense of anticipation hung in the air. What awaited them on the other side could change everything. Angela's breath hitched as she stepped into the living room, her eyes scanning for anything out of place. The golden hues of twilight cast an uneasy glow, and Danny's little heart beat like a drum at the promise of adventure. Carol reached for the light switch, flicking it on, flooding the room with warmth. The moment the lights came on, Angela let out a gasp. There, in the middle of the living room, was a toppled bookshelf, its contents strewn across the floor. Books lay splayed open, and scattered toys created a colorful minefield of chaos. "It's just the bookshelf. It fell." Danny exclaimed with wide eyes, a mix of thrill and concern on his face. Lucky it didn't hit anyone, Carol murmured, kneeling near the mess to inspect the damage. Angela joined her, feeling a sense of relief. It was only a harmless spill after all. "Come on, buddy, help us pick it up," Angela said, her voice lifting as she focused on Danny. There was something rejuvenating about inviting him into the rescue effort. They worked as a team, sorting books back into their rightful place while Danny narrated wild adventures for each title he picked up. With every book reunited with its spine, laughter trickled back into their hearts, washing away the remnants of anxiety. As the three of them arranged the room back to normal, a small framed picture slipped from behind the shelf and fluttered to the floor. Angela bent over to retrieve it, her heart skipping a beat when she saw it was a photo of her late husband, holding Danny on his shoulders at a community event. She felt warmth bloom in her chest, mixed with a sharp pang of loss. "Look at this, Danny," she said, brushing a finger lovingly over the glass. "This was one of our favorite days." Danny giggled, pointing at his dad. "You were smiling like the dragon, Mom." A smile broke through Angela's melancholy, and she ruffled Danny's hair. "Yeah, I guess I was." Still, the reality of recent events crept back into her mind. How many more chaos-filled nights lay ahead for them? Could they truly build a bubble of safety around Danny when the world felt so unpredictable? Just then, Carol stood up, her arms laden with books. "You know what this reminds me of?" Angela looked up, curious. "What if we incorporated a cleanup brigade into our festival? Kids and parents could work together to tidy the neighborhood. Just like this, they make it safer and bring us all closer." Danny's eyes lit up. "I could be the dragon of cleaning. I'll breathe fire on garbage." Angela laughed heartily, the idea resonating. "And we can turn it into a quest. The treasure will be our well-kept neighborhood." "Yes," Carol added, her enthusiasm reinvigorated. "Families working together could really unite us. It's like putting the pieces back together, one small act at a time." Danny jumped up, brandishing his crayon like a sword. "Let us save the world." Angela's heart swelled, yet the weight of uncertainty still pressed down. Would small actions be enough in such uncertain times? Just then, a knock echoed through the house, echoing through her thoughts like a drumbeat. The knock was followed by the unmistakable sound of scuffling feet outside, and Angela exchanged a worried glance with Carol. "Who could that be?" Carol whispered, a hint of fear creeping back in. "I don't know," Angela replied, her mind racing. What if it was someone or something that would make their fears real? As she took a tentative step toward the front door, her heart drumming in rhythm with her thoughts, she wondered if they would truly be ready for whatever lay behind it. What awaited them could determine whether their fragile plans for unity would soar or crash just like the bookshelf had. Angela stood in the dim light, her heart pounding with anticipation. The knock echoed again, louder this time, and she turned to Carol and Danny, who shared her uncertainty. "What if it's more trouble?" Danny whispered, tight-lipped, clutching his crayon like a shield. "Let us stay calm," Angela said, forcing a smile. "It's probably just a neighbor." Taking a deep breath, she opened the door, feeling the cool air rush in. There stood Jake Parkerson, slightly breathless and wide-eyed. Behind him loomed a small group of children and their parents, all carrying art supplies and bags filled with colorful stickers. "Jake? What are you doing here?" Angela asked, her confusion melting into curiosity. He stepped forward, a mixture of excitement and urgency in his expression. "I wanted to come and help. And I told everyone about our festival idea. They want to join. We can do this together." In that hazy moment, hope burst forth like the sun breaking through a stormy sky. Danny's face lit up, and without waiting for an invitation, he rushed forward to greet his friend. "Jake! You're my dragon friend now." Laughter spilled into the air, infecting Angela's heart. "You mean this is a mini-crew for the cleanup brigade?" she asked, her voice thick with emotion. "Yes. Everyone believes we can make our neighborhood better. Jake replied, his enthusiasm painting the air with possibility. The other kids began to chirp in unison, ideas bubbling up: plan for a neighborhood cleanup day, create art for the festival, brainstorm dragon-themed designs that could spread hope. Angela felt warmth flood through her, wrapping around her heart like a cozy blanket. "Let us do this!" she exclaimed, feeling a surge of strength from the unexpected support. Carol stepped forward, her eyes glinting with determination. "All right, team, we have each other now. Let us set our plans into motion." The energy shifted. Ideas flew around the room like the vibrant colors Danny loved to paint with. They discussed the festival's purpose, not just about creativity, but also about community safety and unity. Lively discussions led to sketches of dragons guarding colorful homes, pathways filled with joy, and children planting gardens that thrived. "In every piece of art, we'll show how we care about our neighborhood," Angela declared. For hours, they worked, poring over scraps of paper and colorful pens sprawled across the floor. The kitchen transformed into a hub of creation, where laughter intertwined with dreaming. It felt like an awakening. The barriers had melted away, and a sense of family, bound by purpose, began to form. As the sun dipped low, casting golden rays through the windows, the moment crystallized. Carol turned to Angela, a spark of admiration in her eyes. "You've managed to rally the neighborhood. You're really sparking change." Angela felt a rush of gratitude. "I couldn't have done any of this without you all. We're in this together. This community, we can give it the voice it deserves." The room erupted with applause, the joy echoing through the house. It was a sound of hope, and more than that, it was the sound of a future being built. Just as they reached a crescendo of excitement, Angela suddenly grew quiet. "This is just the beginning, isn't it? We have to stay committed." Jake nodded, determination flooding his features. "If we commit to this, we can really make a difference. Not just for us, but for everyone." With enthusiasm buzzing like electricity, they finalized plans for their gathering. It wasn't just a festival. It was the embodiment of their shared dreams, hope stitched together by human connection. Danny raised his crayon in triumph. "We're going to make it all happen. With dragons and art." The infectious spirit ignited applause again, joy lifting their worries into a distant memory. As dusk settled over their neighborhood, Angela felt something deep within shift. Perhaps they could face the shadows that lingered nearby. Just like the dragons Danny imagined, they could take flight to protect what mattered most: their community. "Together," she murmured, her heart glowing like a hearth. "Together, we'll build a future where hope and creativity thrive." With that, they held hands, a circle of support formed around them. "Are you all ready?" Angela asked, eyes shining with tears of joy. "Ready as dragons," Danny shouted, and laughter burst forth again. A wave of anticipation spread over them as they jumped into action, leaving behind the worries of the past. The evening filled with the promise of new beginnings, each moment a stepping stone toward healing their world. The festival was more than an event, it was the gateway to redefining their neighborhood's narrative, inspiring bravery and togetherness. As clouds parted, Angela stood tall, her heart full. They had become advocates for change, crafting a legacy of hope with each shared dream, each stroke of artistry, and each moment created together. And in that magic of unity, beneath Danny's gleeful dragon sketches, Angela saw how they could protect their own dreams and neighborhood, forever igniting the flames of possibility that would lift them all. You need to subscribe now to be part of more incredible transformations like this. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the stories coming. Comment with your thoughts and feelings about this ending, and help us spread the hope. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let's keep the spirit of community alive.